Welcome back to the TrybeTalk Game Week 9 preview. We are today joined by Sushant, and making his debut is Bhavin. How are you guys doing? How was your Game Week 8? Starting with Sushant.
Hey Anuj, good to be back. I think game week 8, I guess it was what could have been. That's something like that. It was a wild card week, not bad. The average was 49. Got 57 points, but two transfers from what I changed from what my initial wild card was, which is moving away from Chilwell to James, and then Son to Mares because of the COVID scare. So that
Yeah,
kind of made a 20-point difference. So that's a big one. But still, finally, a green arrow, even if a really small one. So happy with the game week. Of course, there are a few concerns across the team.
right.
Um, Armstrong, uh, surprisingly, didn't even come off the bench. James, as sort of expected, he's always had these small few minute cameos, so he's done that. And then obviously the Lukaku news that we heard saying that
Hmm.
he's not. So that's another risk. And then obviously Mares is always going to be a rotation risk. So yeah, a lot of things to think through, and definitely making some transfer this week to ensure I have a good strong playing level. But yeah,
Right,
fairly happy. Let's see how it goes.
right. And you used a wildcard last week as well. All right. We go on to Bhavin. How was your game week? How's been the season so far for you?
Hey Anuj, good to join and uh, like the new format that we are using. Always good to see these improvements coming in.
Yeah.
In terms of the week, been a pretty challenging last 2 weeks ever since I used the wildcard. Uh, the week was fairly below average, I would say. Of the 51 I got, half the captain points were from Salah. So he
Right.
really even though I got a red arrow, there was the only satisfaction of getting 50 plus points thanks to him. Barring Salah, really two defenders got their clean sheet points, which is Livramento and Cancelo.
Right.
Barring that, it was really a sea of ones and twos all over the team. So the wildcard has kind of, in terms of few of the picks, not worked really well, but got to use transfers to correct that. And it's really those fine margins, if you ask me. So, across the wildcards that we've been seeing, you see a fairly common theme, but, the odd difference between one player is really kind of leading to a big swing. So, for example, I used
Absolutely.
my wildcard in game week 7, and I went Alonso instead of Aspilicueta.
Hmm.
And that kind of caused a 15-20 point swing. Similar to Sushant, he went James instead of Chilwell, and immediately it cost him 15 points in one game week. So it's been
Right.
really those, kind of 50-50s that I've been on the wrong side of. But hopefully that's something that we can change.
No, absolutely. It's as you rightly said. Speaking about myself, I went for Chilwell and got lucky there because I had obviously Rudiger was my first draft, and he was nailed on to start, and then obviously the news came in. Then I was obviously in a fix between Chilwell and uh, Aspi. I never kind of considered Alonso because obviously he didn't play game week 7, so that kind of helped. But then I thought, Chilwell has done well in the last two games, one for his country, one for Chelsea as well. He has scored, uh, so he should definitely start. As a guy who's been scoring goals for you, he can't be dropped. So that was my only thinking. It might be flawed in the future, but it kind of worked. And again, similar to Sushant, I had Son. I played my wild card last week. Son till Saturday morning, and then obviously the rumors came in about he carrying COVID and stuff. I wanted to kind of, again, I was never kind of sold on Foden. So I thought, okay, how can I? And obviously, City's 8, 9, 10, 11 are good fixtures. So I thought, who is going to be the most nailed on attacker? And I just took a punt on KDB. So and that kind of worked as well. And obviously now I have removed Antonio. So that we'll see how Antonio kind of fares in the next 3-4 games. But the West Ham's fixtures don't look that comfortable as well. So yeah, it was a pretty. Uh, I would say it was a pretty amazing game week 78 after Wildcard. Kind of shows that Wildcard has been a bit of a success. So we'll see in the next 3 4 games how it works. All right.
Yeah, absolutely. And if I just look at your game week rank, I've rarely seen somebody in all these years of playing FPL being so high in the table so early in the season, because you will always have the odd lot who will use all
Yeah.
their chips, try to be early risers on the leaderboard. So I really think that's a great position to be in.
No, it's been my best start ever. I'm absolutely buzzing. Can't even. I'm trying to tell myself whether I hope I haven't peaked too early and I don't kind of start succumbing to the whole good ranks in the beginning of the season. So let's see. Let's hope for the best. All right, we'll get on to with it. We'll start with the team stats, and this is the offensive stats. And I would like to tell our viewers and our listeners that all this data has been taken from Football Fantasy Scout members area, and all 3 of us are members in with Football Fantasy Scout. So yeah, Bhavin, would you like to start with this?
Sure. So in terms of the offensive data, as the season has gone on, what we've done is, in addition to the XG for the season, which is the metric that we had been using all through, also added a little bit of a form trend in terms of looking at teams over the last 4 game weeks as well. Now we have about 8 game weeks of data. So as the season passes on, it helps us add more and more data layers to kind of look at the best attacks and the best defenses. The other bit that we've also added is the fixture difficulty. So this basically tells you uh, the strength of the fixture corresponding to the data. So, for example, you are seeing Chelsea, being top of the XG table or close to the top of the XG table, and both across the season as well as the last 4 game weeks, they've done fairly well. And this has despite being in a period where they've seen very tough fixtures. So they were 16th on the season ticker. Despite that, the last 4 XG has been pretty strong. So strong
I think we
attacks
lost.
that
Yeah.
the likes of Liverpool, Chelsea, United, in terms of attacking data, continue to do well. Of course, they have a very poor fixture run there. But the attacks to target, of course, are Chelsea, Liverpool, Man United. In terms of the other teams that stand out, you have Man City there as well. They also rank fairly high in terms of the XG data. So those would be
Right.
kind of the template picks, and understandably the attack template, if you see, comprises of mostly these teams: Liverpool, Chelsea, United, Tottenham, as well as City and West Ham. So those are kind of the key attacks that we've been focusing on.
No, absolutely. If you look at the fixture swing now, which is on the rightmost column, which is the FDR next four. Obviously, Chelsea's is at number 2. Sushant, apart from Chelsea, Liverpool, which are obviously known to kind of. Okay, so sorry, let me correct myself. Apart from Liverpool, City, now Chelsea's attack, obviously, we are all concentrating on one particular asset, which is Lukaku, and obviously their next 4 fixtures are number 2 on the ticker. Uh, so with Chelsea, any other team which you are kind of now track, or have you already decided on a team that yes, I'm definitely going to get an asset from here?
Yeah, I mean, I already have, like, obviously Lukaku. We don't see any other Chelsea asset. Liverpool, I think Liverpool. I mean, we've not actually thought about 3 Liverpool yet, or at least most of
Yeah.
us have like 2 Liverpool. But I'm starting to feel like the attack looks so good. I wish Jota was more reliable in terms of starts, but I'm starting to feel there's scope there, and even if their next 4 aren't that great, something to think about in the long run to have another attacker. Um, Other than that, I think you can see Tottenham's fixtures kind of get better. I saw Spurs play pretty well. I mean, it was Newcastle, obviously. Difficult to take away too much, but Son was again involved. 2 bonus points as well. Kane starting to get involved. And then obviously Brentford's was outstanding against Chelsea. It was a complete surprise. Just looking at
Yeah.
that fixture of just the last game weeks, 1.91 xg. Brentford was 0.27 or something for Chelsea. Just completely unexpected. So their first four were easier, but they didn't have as high an XG. I feel like maybe they started improving or started feeling more confident in terms of going on attack, or maybe they got like more opportunities because the top teams kind of gave them more. They could counter
Right.
these teams. So whichever way, it looks like they're more confident. Definitely something to look to in terms of chasing Mbuemo or Tony in attack. I feel.
Absolutely. And, if you see their last four XG, when we're talking about Brentford here, it's 8.2, and where the season XG has been 11.89. So, as you rightly said, majority of their XG has come in the last four fixtures, which were, if you see on the ticker there, they had the worst fixtures in terms of
Yeah.
the last four ones. And going forward, they have the best fixtures. Bhavin, what you have any asset from Brentford? If you have, are you gonna go double in terms of the attack?
Yeah, so in fact, my transfer in is for a Brentford attacker. So I've gone for between Mbuemo and Tony. I've gone for Mbuemo to start. I think he's the more explosive pick, plays in midfield, is out of position, and takes set pieces as well. And I think if you see the average positioning, uh, pretty much their pattern of play has been for Tony to hold the ball up and then release Mbuemo and Canos.
Right.
More often than not, Mbuemo. And I think honestly, the number of times he's hit the woodwork is kind of unreal for
Yeah,
the
it's
first eight
six
game
time,
weeks.
right?
So
Yeah.
7, in fact. I think he hit it
Oh, okay.
twice in the Chelsea game itself. So
Right.
I'm guessing some of that kind of translates into attacking returns. So Mbuemo is definitely in. I think he'll be probably the fourth midfielder of choice for most kind of teams very soon. Tony is an interesting one. Not a lot of options in budget attack, to be honest. Very slim pickings. So I think by that logic, he will kind of become a default pick. But in terms of preference, it would definitely be the out of position midfielder for Tony.
Right. We'll anyways study the players in four different sections of premium forwards, premium midfielders, budget forwards, and budget midfielders, and then we will take a look at these players' statistics. Now let's get on to the defensive stats for the teams. So Shan, any apart from City, which is now being consistent for the last 8 game weeks, which is clearly seen in terms of XGC of 4.78 season and the last four XGC as well of 2.6. So they've been consistent.
Yeah.
Any other team now which catches your eye? Having said that, as in this question is obviously based on we are mostly invested in City or Chelsea plus Trent or not. So any other team where you think, okay, yes, yeah, we can sneak in a cheap defender.
I think again my I go towards Brentford because I mean we already have, I think most have either one or two City assets. Chelsea have been super lucky to keep a clean sheet but in the last few weeks, but everyone has at least one or some of them have two. Brighton, I think quite a few have the Sanchez or maybe Duffy, for example, a few of them. Uh, I'm kind of focusing on the fixtures basically. The next FTR, looking at Brentford's next four, is good on a defensive standpoint. Southampton, I think almost everyone has Livramento as well, so that's good enough cover.
Yeah.
Another reason why I'm looking at Brentford, not just the fixtures, is because both Pinnock and Jansen, I think they're both
Yeah.
kind of into the box. They overload the box when they're in, even when it's free kicks, are winning headers. There's always a good chance that one of them gets an assist or a goal. I like that aspect, and then they could be in the bonus points as well. If it's a close 1-0 or something like that. So for me, that one stands out for sure. But otherwise, I mean, I don't see any reason to going away from two City or a one Chelsea at least, especially their considering City still have good fixtures. They could keep a clean sheet against Brighton, Crystal Palace, Everton as well. But yeah, so I think Brentford, in my opinion. What do you guys think? Any other players that any other teams that stand out?
No, so my other, obviously, I'm looking to get in. I think Pinnock, because Janssen just went up to 4.7. Pinnock is still at 4.6. Because I need to get rid of Duffy now. So as we discussed last time, but if somebody has Raya as a goalkeeper, and I don't know whether that particular manager should definitely go for second defensive asset from Brentford, but the stats absolutely back up Brentford in terms of defense as well as attack. I don't have Raya's, and I think on my wildcard now I'm kind of thinking that I went for the wrong goalkeeper, which is Ramsdale. I should have. I have my eyes. To be honest, I was between Ramsdale and Guaita from Crystal Palace, because Crystal Palace's defense and his saves and his bonus points are much more than Ramsdale. I didn't go for Raya because I knew that I'm definitely going for Pinnock, maybe game week 9 or game week 10 whenever I have two free transfers. Bhavin, what do you think? Any Brentford is one team defense you're looking for, or are you not going to touch your? You have 2 City, 2 Chelsea, or how does it look?
2 City, 2 Chelsea. Yeah, no Trent. One of the Chelsea defenders will definitely go to make way for him.
So you have which Chelsea defenders?
So I have Rudiger and Alonso, both of whom have done pretty much nothing the last 2 weeks since I got them in wildcard. So I'm guessing the obvious move is for Alonso to make way for Trent after the United fixture. That was always part of the plan. So the idea of going 2 City, 2 Chelsea is because I was playing an early wildcard, and I wanted to kind of cover my bets because I knew these were the 2 defenses to target. So take 2-3 weeks and try and see which defense is looking better, and then move one of them onwards to Trent. Definitely, I think the City defense has made bigger impression than Chelsea. Chelsea have kind of lucked their way to some points. So, in terms of template defensively, I think it's very, very strong, and the incentive to move away from the template is very, very low. Also, even if you have a punty 5th defender, it's very difficult for you to keep fielding them. I mean, I saw you play a 5-2-3 on wildcard, but it'll take a brave guy to play 5 defenders. So invariably, your defense composition is going to be very template running into the next 5-6 weeks, the way I see it. It'll be either 1 Chelsea, 1 City, Trent, and then Livramento and the 5th defender of your choice. So really slim pickings if you ask me in terms of defense. Goalie, I agree with you, Anuj. I think we missed a trick in overlooking Raya. Though we've been talking about his baseline bonus points and saves, but it's just too tempting to turn down a 4.5 million Arsenal goalie. So let's hope he kind of does something the next 3-4 weeks. Otherwise, maybe a transfer there to spend.
So you have Ramsdale as well?
I have Ramsdale as well.
Yeah, all 3 of us, I think,
okay.
convinced each other to go for Ramsdale. Maybe I don't know. I was on Raya and until very last minute, but Ramsdale's Raya was 4.6. I thought I'll just save that 0.1 and might be able to, save somewhere else, based on the movements. But yeah, it didn't. I think it should be fine. I feel like Ramsdale also should get a couple of clean sheets. I think he's making some saves. He had like 3 saves in the previous game as well. Let's see how that goes. But yeah, as Bhavin mentioned, it's difficult to move out a goalkeeper. But if they don't do anything in the next 4, something to definitely think about.
I was just about to come to that question in terms of I think 99.99% of the managers say, who's going to waste his transfer on a goalkeeper unless it's on wildcard. My only question is, if obviously nothing is given and nothing is guaranteed, but Arsenal, are more defensively set up than offensively. He might give a clean sheet here there, and he's from Arsenal, 4.5, amazing. But he's at 4.5, 4.6 right now.
It's 4.6 now.
Now 4.6.
Yeah.
So why can't anybody, if somebody's on 2 free transfers, why can't somebody just go for a better team No, okay, sorry, not better team, but a better defensive team goalkeeper. And why can't we do a transfer? I'm looking at McCarthy. Why not McCarthy from Southampton? Why not McCarthy? Anyways, Southampton's defense is much better than Crystal Palace as of now. We will know. Obviously, they did well against Leeds, but Leeds was anyways very ineffective without Bamford and Rafinha. Have you guys ever thought of doing it, or you're also of the same school of thought?
It kind of ends up being I've barely ever seen having like 2 free transfers and nothing to do sort of scenario. It's very rare that happens. So if it does, though, I certainly am definitely, I don't mind doing that. If there is a situation where that arises, but for now, for example, I already have issues in terms of Armstrong, Mahrez and stuff like that I need to fix ASAP. So not sure on that, but in the past I've never been able to do it, but definitely open to it. Like last season, I think there was a miss. Martinez, kept racking up the points. I just never could convince myself to get to him, and that costs a lot, like a really, really lot. So I think not at all. We should not be averse to it. Definitely look for it. If there is an opportunity, go for it. Yeah.
Agree with Sushant. I have, if I look at my team, there are so many players I want to kick out. Just can't convince myself to do a goalie transfer right now. So probably that will have to wait for a long, long time. And if that happens, I would kind of, not mind it, because if the rest of the team looks good, no harm. But it's a rare possibility for it to come up, honestly.
Right. No, fair enough. You're right. Because the upside of goalkeepers is not too much, and obviously you need to take care of your other players whose upside is much higher.
Yeah, and also there is no outstanding goalie standing out. In terms of, so like last season, Sushant mentioned Martinez was a must-have. You could even justify a -4 and get him in and cover that over the next 2-3 weeks. There isn't that really standing out option in goal. It's really these 3-4 budget options that people are rotating between.
No, that's also true. That's true. Obviously, 8 for a goalkeeper. Obviously, sample of 8 doesn't really make sense. It's been 4 home games, 4 away games. Maybe it's I think it's up to the managers. I don't know. It's a particular manager whether they want to take that kind of a call. All right. Fixtures. Obviously, we'll keep coming back to this sticker whenever we're speaking about a team or any particular player. Now we'll get on to premium midfielders. Now this is an interesting one because one guy is definitely going to be permanent in everybody's team, which is going to be Salah. I think his ownership has gone up to 65%. And now, in a good way, that there are other options which can also start coming up. Now the only reason I put Rashford in here, so 9.4, he's not even a mid, not even in premium. So I thought I'll put him in the premium. Now, the only good thing, and you guys are United fans, so it'll be great to hear your views. Rashford now coming in, completely fit and raring to go. Now, Bruno obviously has been an option all the time. He's always there, but obviously he's 2.4 million more expensive than Rashford. Rashford had a decent season last year as well. If he keeps scoring, forgetting the fixture right now of United in the next 4. If he keeps scoring, does he enter? Do you guys look at him and saving that 2 extra million on people who have Bruno whenever fixtures for United turn? And if you see, I don't think it's mentioned here. The United's obviously fixtures kind of start turning from game week 15 onwards. So if Rashford shows consistency, would you guys look at him? So the reason I'm asking is also because Rashford is there, and you can save a couple of million more in spite of whatever has been done by Bruno and Ronaldo.
Yeah.
So I think with Rashford coming in, the first thing I would want to see for a couple of games, and thankfully the fixtures give you the ability to do that. You don't need to rush to buy a United attacker.
Yeah.
The way I see it is, how ideally would we be set up? So most of the season so far, Pogba's played on the left. Martial's played the odd game. pretty much first choice position for Rashford will be on the left. And if he takes that left position, where does Pogba play? Pogba and Matic in midfield was a disaster last game
Yeah.
week. So definitely that won't continue for a long time. So, and again on the right, you have a problem with Greenwood and Sancho then competing for one spot. Bruno and Ronaldo, I don't think are going anywhere from the first team
Yeah.
picture. So it's really a difficult combination, I think, for Solskjaer to strike in the next 2-3 weeks. Once I get a sense, then maybe, and the other thing with this new attack with Ronaldo coming in is Bruno's appeal as a fantasy asset is declining big time. I mean, the shot from distance isn't really a way for us to really look at sources for goals. Bruno is more often than not trying to find Ronaldo with the pass or Pogba with the pass or whoever. So Bruno's appeal diminishing does leave the scope for a cheaper asset like Rashford or even Greenwood for that matter, because he's looked
Right.
really good, but at the end of the day, his decision making is still poor. And I don't know, it's just my kind of notice, or the equation between Greenwood and Ronaldo just doesn't seem to be there. I mean, they rarely pass to
No,
each
not
other.
at all.
So
Not at all.
yeah,
Yeah.
so it's both of them trying to score over the other. So that's something that again has kind of got to work out. And once you see a predictable trend, I think the cheaper mid from United will be one to target, but not for now.
Right. So Shant, Bruno's stats are still consistent. His season XGI and then last 4 XGI. Obviously, the fixtures now turn to worse. What do you think
Um,
about United assets now?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, as Bhavin mentioned, it's difficult for Solskjaer right now to figure out who to play and who's going to fit in where. And the United aren't really, not really in control of games right now, so it's very difficult to say. Bruno is definitely out of question at the moment. I know he has decent XGI. I'm at one point of time, I think just a couple of weeks ago, or at least 3 weeks ago, we were like, he's due a haul, because he was creating so many chances. But again, it was there are a few easy fixtures at that time. Now it's changed. It's much tougher. Nothing's too stable right now. And now Rashford does. I feel like Rashford last season, I think he was undroppable. I think it's
Right.
going to happen. The same thing's going to happen. He's going to start games for sure. How he's going to fit everyone, no idea. But feels like Bruno, Rashford, and Ronaldo could start. But yeah, as I said, just the struggles that United is going through right now, it's difficult to pick any United asset. Another thing going against Rashford is the price tag. You could get Son like just 0.5, 0.6 more. Son is like he's a talisman for Spurs. He'll be in the
Correct.
points. I mean, any fixtures, it doesn't matter the difficulty of the fixtures. He still feels like there's a goal or an assist there. So for me, Son over Rashford. Even long term, I'm not sure. Even when the fixtures get better, whether I want to move to Rashford. We'll see. But yeah, it's not going to be. I mean, anyway, not going to be until game week 14 or 15. So there's still a long way to go. There's just Watford away. I guess there's that one fixture that stands out in the next 6. So which is maybe easier, but yeah, probably not right now.
No, absolutely, and I think Tottenham. As we speak of Son, Tottenham has West Ham away, United home, Everton away, and all these 3 fixtures. Obviously, they look quite tough on paper, but I think is quite. The defense is not the best.
Yeah.
If you see the defensive stats of these teams, yes, Everton is currently at number 5, but they have had very good fixtures. I don't think West Ham United has even kept a clean sheet till now, and then obviously Tottenham as well. So goals are there coming from United in the next 3 games, as well as Tottenham. I think Son will be there in the middle of everything. If I'm not
Yeah, I
wrong.
think West Ham just kept one clean sheet just this week against Everton. I don't
Oh
know
yeah,
if they had
of course.
more,
Yeah.
but yeah, I think I feel like Spurs, even they don't create too many chances. I think most of the chances do fall to Son or Kane, more or less. And they look good against Newcastle. Even the previous game against, I think, Aston Villa, I like the way they're kind of moving the ball around. I think Ndombele has come in, starting to.
Yeah, he had a good game. Yeah.
He had a good game, so I think he had a good game previously as well. So I think it's a very short sample, Newcastle, Aston Villa, but maybe it's kind of like improving a little. And yeah, just Son being involved with corners, free kicks on the counter against these teams always looks good. So yeah, Son. I mean, I'm actually looking at Mahrez to Son straight away. If he's fit and playing, and there's no point overthinking that. But yeah, that's what I'm looking at. Rashford for now, wait and watch. United in general, wait and watch. See how that goes.
Right. Bhavin, who are your three? Do you have 2 or 3 premium attackers?
2 premiums, Kaku and Salah, of course.
Salah. Okay, so as we mentioned in the beginning, about when we were looking at offensive stats, and especially about Liverpool, Mane's stats are now obviously not as good as Salah, but he's been as good as any other midfielder as of now, and he's 11.9. KDB now obviously is comes in the picture as well at 11.9. He's completely fit. He played last game. I still think he was right place at the right time, but yeah, the goal was kind of lucky. The ball just fell in front of him, and the finishing was awesome. But Mane, Salah, till when do we really wait and not go for both of them?
It's really tough to fit them in, Anuj, to be honest with you, because if you're really looking at the way I've set my team up, so I've pretty much gone for 15 starting players, and my 3 forwards and 5 mids are all starters with 5.5 million above price. In that kind of a scenario, and with Trent and the double City defense, I really can't fit the third premium, how much soever I try. So it's really a tough one. I think if you look at in terms of team structure, what I've tried to do, not with great success, I must add, is to make sure you have 2 premiums who rotate well. So even though Lukaku's been misfiring, if you look at in terms of fixture rotation, I think he goes best with Salah. I mean, the fixtures where Salah has on paper a tough fixture, and we'll come to captaincy and how close it is this week.
Yeah.
But I think in terms of rotation, he works pretty well with Salah. And what I really try to do is spread the funds everywhere and try to look at more and more options and keep a healthy bench. So I'm really, with my wildcard, pretty much ruled out a third premium, the way I see it. I think the max I can do is probably downgrade, send Maximan to a non-playing forward, and then afford a maximum 10 million midfielder or forward. I think that's the max I can go to. So Mane, KDB are pretty much out of the picture for me. Also, in terms of captaincy, I don't see us moving away from Salah many weeks. So there also having a third premium and not capping him really limits the upside that you would get from him. And I tend to be, erring on the side of caution always when it comes to captaincy. So I'm really kind of trying to go without the third premium for as long as I can.
No, so what if Salah and Mane were the only 2 premiums you had to look at, and have like a line of 3 strikers of like 7 to 8 million in Antonio, Jimenez, and I think Vardy might just fit in, or maybe not, or maybe any 8 to 9, and have Son and Mane and Salah.
Yeah, so I think maybe one to look at, but I don't really see a standout stretch of 4 or 5 awesome fixtures for Liverpool to do that. Honestly, their fixture run is more kind of a little up and down in terms of games.
Yeah, correct.
So not really looking at that. I mean, for example, you see Chelsea's run over the next 3, and you can justify attacking double up. Just that we don't have a good enough second attacker. The same can be said for Spurs between 12 and 15. Liverpool don't have that stretch really to be able to make that move.
No, you're right, because if you see the Salah stats and the FDR in front of it, it was 14th rank in the last 4 and it's 14th rank in the next 4. So it's not really it's not even going to single figures, the fixture difficulty. So yeah, so Salah obviously is a must. Like I said in the beginning, I've gone for KDB primarily for the next 3 fixtures. Otherwise, the plan was for Son, and I think my next move would be KDB to Son, maybe after game week 10 or something, because Son definitely is, because Tottenham is not. I think they're playing what's Conference Europa League, whatever it's called, and
Honestly, yeah.
I don't think Son and Kane really are gonna really feature there unless they reach semis or finals or whatever. So I think Son and Kane both will be quite well rested this season, as compared to any other premium asset.
Yeah, that's a good point on that. Definitely, I think I've seen Son and Kane play. I mean, Kane initially, because he started late, he played a few Conference League games. I think he has a hat trick as well there. Son has been mostly subbed in those games, so he's not going to play much. Especially once they qualify in maybe in a week or so. I don't see Son playing at all. Yeah, I think it makes sense to look at Son. You have three premiums right now, right? Anuj, you have KDB, Salah, and Lukaku. You were able to manage that with a cheaper
Yeah, that's
strike
because
force.
I have Wong and I have Armstrong, and
Yeah,
I don't have two City, two Chelsea defense. I have one City, one Chelsea, and Trent.
yeah.
Uh, yeah, so I'm it's okay. As in, I'm sure Chelsea and City there will be game weeks where both of them will get clean sheets, and people like Azin Bhavin has all four of them, double Chelsea, double City. So that'll be a good bumper week in that term. Uh, so I'm just relying on my premium attackers to kind of get in points consistently and not blank more often. So that's the idea. Uh, to be honest, KDB. If you look at KDB as well, City's fixtures also aren't really that great on paper. Brighton away, it looks all right. So even if you see the offensive stats, City, uh, obviously these are not sorted by in decreasing order, but City's XG is second highest, but the last four XG has been not even in top five. Um, yes, their fixtures were a little difficult, and but they're attacking. Everybody was hoping for like a 4-0, 5-0 against Burnley. They were lucky not to concede a goal. Burnley had some two clear-cut chances.
Yeah.
City was Burnley. I think after 7 game weeks, really, I think woke up and defended the way they're supposed to defend, and they're known to defend. But still, I think City's attack. Sterling is. I don't know if people are even considering Sterling, get Sterling in, and we all know about the other assets. They have two injuries. It's difficult to get. City is finding it difficult to score in the last 3-4 games, and next few fixtures also can be tricky for them as well. I think
Yeah, I don't see a
most of the attack comes from, obviously it's involved Cancelo and
yeah, I don't see a standout fixture there where they could or a set of fixtures that they could score 4-5 until Watford.
Correct.
Palace have been decently strong, pressing high up the pitch as well. Everton, West Ham. I mean, they probably scored two. I mean, Cities can score 2 goals against anybody, and so they could do that. But especially with their rotation and no standout, it's a tough one to pick anyone right now. I mean, I did consider Jesus, but I don't know after his coming back from the international break. Is he going to continue playing there, or Mahrez going
Yeah.
to get more minutes? A lot of open questions there. So there's no standout City attacker at the moment. Maybe Foden, but yeah, maybe Foden. That's the only one probably consider. But other than that, stuff to
Right. All right, we'll move to budget midfielders, and I think Bhavin, you have 2 or 3 of them in your team from this list.
Yeah, I pretty much have maxed out on budget midfield. So I have Rafinha, I have Mbuemo now, I have Gallagher, and the other name that I'm really closely tracking is Tielemans, because he's looked really
Yeah.
good whenever he's played. So, and in fact, the new setup and the use of Somare in midfield has really allowed Tielemans to roam and create passes. So, I'm really, in terms of midfield budget, I think Rafinha is kind of a go-to option. Uh, Mbuemo, I think very soon will be a template pick. So I think in terms of midfield, the third and the fourth midfielders are pretty much kind of cast in stone for the next 5-6 weeks in my mind. I really like Gallagher. Every time I have seen Gallagher play, he's really been in the thick of the action. Even in the
Right.
game against Arsenal, I didn't see the game, but I saw the highlights. And every single frame, whenever there was an attack or a shot on target or a goal,
He was part of it.
he
Yeah.
was thereabouts. Yeah, exactly. He stole the ball also to set up the second goal, but
Hmm.
assisted the assister. So Gallagher
Right.
is one, and thankfully he's kind of going under the radar. So if he hauls, should be a good differential. Those are kind of the ones that stand out. The Everton midfield, I think, continues to do well without DCL and Richarlison. But I would just want to see their setup once these two are back. So that's a little bit of a wait and watch. And the fixtures again don't seem to be very appealing. So not really going there. Ben Rama is the biggest decision point I think for most. So I've sold him. He's gone for me. Mbuemo is the one who's
Right. Right.
coming. But I think that will be pretty much the biggest open point to look at. Ben Rama replacements, to my mind, I think the best one is Mbuemo. Rafinha, if you don't own him, is absolutely ahead of the pack. If you have Rafinha, Mbuemo, and I think if you have Mbuemo as well and want to create, multiple midfield options, then I think Saka and Tielemans are the ones to go.
So you said Gallagher because obviously Crystal Palace has under Vieira has played quite an attacking style of football. You're not talking about Zaha is it because of the price, because he has been outscoring Gallagher?
Yeah, so I think in terms of the general play, Anuj, the way I've seen it is Crystal Palace always have preferred to use pacey wingers and create, passes or short passes for the midfielders to run in and score, or the attacker to drop back and pick it up and score. So
Hmm.
that's why I think from an involvement or a goal threat perspective, I think Gallagher is pretty strong. And of course, he helps you save a million and a half. So that's another
Right.
draw with him. So that's the reason I'm looking at Gallagher. I went for Gallagher rather.
We look at Crystal Palace's fixture. This Newcastle home, which obviously is a tasty one. I think they should get. This is the fixture where Gallagher should get something. City away, Wolves home, Burnley away, Villa home, Leeds away, United away. So, and you have had Gallagher after your wild card or before the wild card as well?
Post wildcard. So I have 5 mids. I have with Salah four budget mids. I have Saka, I have Gallagher, I have Rafinha, and I have Mbuemo now. So what I'm basically doing is picking three out of the four, depending on the fixture. So like Man City comes up next week for
Hmm.
Crystal Palace, I'll bench Gallagher and play the other three.
Right,
A
right,
week later, Rafinha will have his international break and probably might miss the game. So the other three will play. So that's really the way I've gone about it for now.
right. So how long do you give? How long do you show patience with Gallagher? Is there
Well,
is there
I'm
a plan
hoping.
B? Because now you got Mbeumo, which is 5.5, and Gallagher is 5.7. So any other midfielder in that range? I'm not sure how much money in the bank you have.
So I have enough to upgrade Alonso to Trent, which is really the
Okay.
key transfer I need to make in. But barring that, really, if I was to look at my midfield now and look at people who are at risk, I think Rafinha is going nowhere. Mbuemo, I've just gotten him, so I'm hoping he kind of stays. The other two positions are really Saka and Gallagher. I'm kind of less and less inclined to keep Saka rather than Gallagher, but we'll see how
Hmm.
the next 2-3 game weeks go.
Is he injured or is he fine?
I think he missed
Not
training
sure.
today. He got
Okay.
subbed off at halftime. And the problem with Arsenal is their fixture is the early kickoff, the Friday kickoff.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
highly likely that he may not risk Saka and playing, off the bench, worst case. So I'm
Right,
definitely
right,
benching Saka unless I get a clean bill of health.
right. Interesting. Sushant, who do you have in your radar?
I I mean, I already own Rafinha and Mbuemo right now. I have a premium. I have Mahrez right now. I mean, he's a budget premium in between and probably upgrade. Looking at Son, so I'm planning to keep that structure of Salah, one Son like premium kind of a player, and then two mid price. So I've based on fixtures, if you see both Rafinha and Mbuemo have great fixtures coming up. So I do like. I mean, I can't see moving away from them right now.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, Telemans is an interesting one. Like Bhavin mentioned, how Somare playing kind of opened him up, kind of creating a lot of chances. His XGI is pretty decent. Last four has been like really good. Fixtures are like mixed still. So, is he going to score a worldie like he did against United? Not sure. So, want to watch for sure and see in the long term how they play. I don't know if their fixtures get better. They aren't playing Harvey Barnes, so how will they got to fit him in? Still open questions on that. So not going there. Other than that, it's really difficult to see any good budget midfielders.
Right.
Not sure. Yeah, I guess Foden, Bernardo Silva, maybe for City, they're involved, not as much. Bowen surprisingly has almost one XGI more than Benrahma. I didn't even realize when he
Yeah.
started
So,
playing.
so he's the one I think who's had 3 returns in the last 3 games. I
Yeah,
think 1 goal and 2 assists. He's on corners as well. Benrahma looks a little jaded to me. I think he's been playing 90 minutes in Europa League, so it'll be interesting to see how much he plays tomorrow in Europa League.
yeah,
Because as we discussed last time, I think Moyes looks pretty interested in winning the Europa League, because I think that's his only way to get into Champions League. Yeah, Bowen looks a good one. 6.3, cheaper than Benrahma,
yeah.
cheaper than Rafinha. So he looks another 1 or 2 returns here and there. And West Ham is a team which again is, I wouldn't say it's fixture proof, because they have kind of, we're not looking for West Ham to win or lose. We are looking for West Ham whether they're going to score or not. So I think they have scored in each and every game, apart from I think one where they drew against
Southampton.
Southampton. Yeah. So they have a lot of. So Fornals now has suddenly kind of gone off the radar. He hasn't returned in the last 3-4. Otherwise it's between Bowen, Antonio, and I think Benrahma. And Antonio, as we all know, that he's also kind of hit a roadblock in terms of his last 2-3 games. So Bowen is an interesting one. He plays all 90. He plays each and every game. I haven't checked really how much he features in Europa League, but Bowen looks to be a pretty good prospect in terms of 6.3. He's cheaper than Saka, so that's another one to look at. Same price as Tielemans.
I think they have. But West Ham, I think, obviously have as you can see, their next 4 FDR is like 17. It's a little difficult. But I think their fixtures also improve post that. Yeah, for me, I'm kind of on Rafinha and Mbuemo just based on fixtures. Mbuemo obviously form as well. It's just needs to finish those chances.
Yeah.
I mean, Leeds we saw against Southampton, they just had absolutely nothing without
Correct.
Rafinha.
Correct.
James did have one big chance. I think he is a mistake, more not really a chance created per se. So I think Rafinha is absolutely critical. If Bamford and Rafinha make it back, I think he can come good. I mean, they might still struggle. Leeds are not going to be the same as last season. There's not going to be a big scores coming there, but I think he should have an assist or a goal here and there. I think
a word on Everton as well. I think Doucouré is now out for a couple of months.
Wow. Okay.
So that might affect. Now they don't have DCL. They don't have Richarlison, and now Doucouré, who was in the scheme of things along with Gray and Townsend, but now he's also not there. So I have an Everton's fixtures. Anyways, was looking at them at their assets. And just about midfield was the only one, but they are right at number 16. Watford is the only next one which they might get some points. Otherwise, it's Wolves, Tottenham, City, Brentford, Liverpool, Arsenal. So I think people who have Gray or Townsend, might should start looking at somewhere else.
Yeah.
Mboma looks to be the real deal. I'm surprised Mboma's price hasn't risen till now.
Yeah, that's indeed. I think it's still less than 5% owned. I think it's just his XG numbers. Obviously, XGI numbers are good. It's just that the returns aren't as many as expected. So that's the reason why. But certainly want to get in if you don't. Especially I think you can let go of Ben Rama. A lot of them still have Ben Rama. That's an option to move away from and get Mbemo, which Bhavin just did. So. Yeah, I think that's what it is. I think still, I guess, wait and watch for the next few weeks to see if there are more options that come in. Yeah, but fairly slim, to be honest. I don't see any lot of them standing out yet. So,
all right, we are done with the midfielders. Let's move on to the forwards. And this is one space where now obviously people have gotten rid of Ronaldo because of the fixtures, and now Lukaku is under stress for a lot of managers. He hasn't returned. Now obviously the next fixture is the one why most of us got Lukaku in, which is Norwich. And obviously, as Bhavin said, we will discuss about the captaincy in another 10-15 minutes. So, but these are the budget forwards. Bhavin, you have Saint Maximin. His numbers have kind of. So this is just to clarify to our viewers and our listeners. This is expected goal involvement delta. So, and this is not pure XGI numbers. So this is XGI delta numbers. So Saint Maximin's numbers have gone down. Bhavin, is he on your radar to be chucked out of your team?
Yeah, he's on the block for sure. The only problem is, barring Tony, I can't think of anybody to replace him with. I mean, there are very slim pickings. So probably that's the reason why he's not gone out, and the fact that I need to get Trent in sooner, and I can afford to bench him a few games. But really, it's really slim pickings in budget attack. So probably in a couple of weeks, the hope is, and bear in mind, you also would probably look to replace Antonio because he gets into a fairly tricky fixture run in the next 2-3 weeks. So I think the area where we are scouting, or at least I am looking at options very, very closely, is budget attack. And there aren't many standing out. There are a few which have been ruled out due to injury as well. So you don't have a DCL, you don't have a Richarlison, you don't have a Bamford even. Wilson's come back, but again, he's just one kind of injury away from again disappearing. So I really think the options in attack are much lesser. I would preferably keep budget mids and maybe go for a 4-5-1 or a 3-5-2 or whatever formation that allows me to play two or one attacker. Because really at this point the pool is pretty small. I mean, I know Jimenez is a pretty popular pick, but with his international break, excursions coming in, and I think what's happened in the last 3-4 weeks is Larke has really kind of made it a point to rotate. The first 4 fixtures we saw a very, very steady team, and we covered them on the pod. But I think over the last 4, he's kind of experimented across. So he's played, Hwang, he's played Podence, he's played Traore, he's played Jimenez. So it's really hard to kind of predict minutes at this point in time. So it's one to kind of look at, but don't see many options exciting. The other one which might come in handy if we see some sort of form kicking in is probably Pookie, because after 2 weeks, Norwich's run eases up considerably. And if Norwich were to get anything, the only option kind of by default is for Pookie to do something. So that could be one to monitor, but really slip pickings apart from there.
Now for Saint Maximin, I think Wilson coming in, and as you said, he's just one injury away. He's in the same category as Antonio in terms of injuries concerned, but Wilson has started 4 games this season and he scored in 3 of them. And I didn't see his goal against Tottenham, where the new owners were quite jubilated looking at considering the investment that they made. But if you see Newcastle's fixtures, they're number 6 in terms of attacking. Crystal Palace away, Chelsea home. Obviously, that's a tough one. Brighton away, Brentford home, Arsenal away, Norwich home, Burnley home. Now, these are pretty decent fixtures for Newcastle. And if you see the offensive stats as well for Newcastle, they are in top 10. They have been consistent. 9 xg, last 4 xg of around close to 5. The fixtures obviously say they're number 18, but that's obviously because of it's on the attacking scale, and if you see the teams that they're playing, the defenses have been. I think Chelsea obviously plays a bit bigger role in terms of that fixture rating. Crystal Palace away, Brighton away. Yes, Brighton away. The defense has been good. Brentford home, where Brentford themselves will go for it. There's a chance. Arsenal, Norwich, Burnley. So, Shan, is there a case for Wilson for people who have a 7 striker or who have Jimenez, where Wolves fixture also are not that great?
Yeah, I think Wolves, Jimenez, I think his benching was obviously down to his international travels, right? So
Yeah.
I don't see him being benched. I know they've kind of played around. I mean, I feel like they could play around with Fong again, getting importance or Traore. But I still feel like Jimenez is pretty key to like hold up the ball. And so I still see Jimenez playing. In terms of Newcastle, obviously now Steve Bruce, like today's news, Steve Bruce is gone. So who are they going to get in? What kind of a manager? Is a manager like a short-term pick to kind of ensure they don't relegate it this season, or like they're looking at a long-term, attacking manager? So those kind of also come into play. I still feel like he will get 1 or 2 chances a game the way Newcastle play. Decent pick for sure. Replacing Jimenez, I'm not too sure whether you want to replace Jimenez. Maybe I don't know. I mean, Pawan was mentioning the next international break. Again, if Mexico have 3 games and he's going to go and he's going to miss another game, maybe at that time you could look at. He's a decent option for sure. And I think game week 14, 15, his fixtures like obviously Burnley, Norwich at home. That should be good fixtures
Correct.
For him. Yeah.
Iheanacho? Bhavin? Or Sushan, anyone?
I think the problem with Leicester is really in the league, their attack is Vardy +1. And, there are so many people competing for that second spot. So you have Iheanacho, you have Daka, you have Barnes, because he's got to play at some point, I'm guessing. And if they really play a 3-5-2, the only place is the second attacker where he can play. So I don't see, the chance for him to get sustained 90 minutes. But I think, if you want to take that punt and, I mean, in terms of live play and on the eye test, he looks good. Finally, Rodgers has come to the right formation, I think, of playing 2 attackers, having experimented all over the place early on.
I don't know what took him so long. I have no idea.
I know, beats me. I mean, it was, and the funny thing is, it was something that worked very well for him at the end of the season as well last year.
Exactly. Yeah.
So why would you kind of change what's working for you? Having added more attackers and just going to one attacker is kind of illogical. Right. But I think thankfully he's got the right formation. And if he continues, and if Iheanacho even gets 70 odd minutes in the next couple of games, then it might kind of turn up as an option.
Because 7 is a decent bracket again, with the likes of Jimenez, and if somebody has you have Saint Maximin, so he's at 6.8. Any other striker for you guys who should be looked at?
I think the one that so probably not immediately, because again the next 2 kind of don't look great on paper. But I think once Villa's fixtures turn, I think Watkins could be one to look at, and he could be another replacement for Antonio when his fixtures stiffen. So that is another one to kind of definitely look at.
I think one thing that I saw, I think there are some fixtures. I think we can, with the mid price or the budget forwards. The issue obviously is nobody standing out. Again, similar to some of the midfielders. We're considering whether to keep Jimenez, Antonio as well. I'm trying to see if there's a way to kind of rotate between those budget forwards, sort of see if, based on fixtures like as I said, like Newcastle, Gameweek 14, 15, Norwich and Burnley at home.
Yeah.
Good fixtures for Wilson. Um, if there are some fixtures like that, that's what I'm trying to see. Brentford, the next three, Tony for Tony. I think, against Wolves, for example, it was very different from what they played against the bigger teams. Against Wolves, Brentford, Tony was in the box attacking. So it could kind of change. So maybe Brentford will set up differently against Burnley, Norwich, and Newcastle compared to what they've been doing. So those set of fixtures look good for me as well. I feel like maybe there's worth looking at it in that way instead of kind of sticking to one. Obviously, it's dependent on having that flexibility on transfers to kind of move around. But a lot of people on Wildcard, like for example, I think you have only Armstrong. That's an issue for you. So
Correct.
worth exploring, right? Why don't you look at that option?
So I have Armstrong at 6, but it's good that you brought up Armstrong's name because Broja or Broya, however is pronounced. I think he came in also because I have a feeling, and I haven't read this anywhere. It's just my school of thought is because of the lack of creativity behind him, which is obviously, as we discussed last time, like there's no Ward-Prowse, and there's no Che Adams, and I think he played Redmond way advanced. I have never seen Redmond play so advanced ever in a Southampton jersey. The only worry is that he was not even subbed. There were three attacking substitutions which were made, and he was not even one of them.
Yeah.
And I think there was a comment made by him I think a couple of days back, was that yes, Armstrong is in, we have signed him for a reason, and so on and so forth. The way Tuchel kind of explained about Lukaku yesterday, maybe that's the case going on with Armstrong. Maybe he needs 1 game rest. I don't think Broja is gonna keep on starting alone. Maybe they might go for the double attack. I think Ward-Prowse, I don't know when he's back. I think he's back next game week. Maybe that's when things might change as well up front. But Armstrong is someone, though he hasn't done much in terms of in terms of giving returns yet. But I still think at 6 he's fine. I have 0.5 in the bank. My only options left are, Edward is one, which again, who hasn't started. He's just come in, so that's fine. I already have Huang, so I already am on the cheapest striker who plays. So it's a little, and I've kept that 0.5 to improve Duffy to Pinnock. So I can just wait and watch with Armstrong. If people have more money in the bank, they can definitely look for options like Saint Maximin or Benteke. I will never go for. So
Tony is an option for you, obviously, since
Tony
you have
is one,
0.5.
yes. Yeah.
And I know with Duffy, I get Webster's is back and you want to remove him, but you still have Livramento off the bench.
Yeah. Duffy is definitely 5.
It's not
correct.
It's not a concern per se. I mean, obviously, it depends on your other midfield options. If you feel like Huang is good enough to start all games, because you have to play him, obviously, the way you're set up right now.
Yeah.
But it's worth considering. I guess Tony does have good fixtures coming up. You could obviously wait 1 week to see if Armstrong plays the next one, and then take a call the week after.
And that's against Burnley, so I'm hoping if he plays there, there can be some kind of an attack. But Armstrong doesn't look to be a long-term kind of option.
Yeah.
So, sorry, Bhavin, you had Armstrong, right, in the beginning of the season?
I had Armstrong, before I gave up on him on my wildcard.
Right.
So, he looked decent, fairly selfish in terms of play. Will take a shot even if he is outside the box. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I don't kind of fancy him right now. And speaking of Iheanacho, just was checking. Leicester have managed to win their Europa League game 4-3, and Dhaka got all 4
Okay.
goals. So
Oh wow.
that doesn't speak too well for Nacho to get a lot of minutes. So we'll see how that goes.
But did he play?
Yeah, he was the
Iheanacho.
second striker. Yeah, he was with
Oh,
playing with Dhaka. Nacho and Dhaka were playing. Wadi was on the bench, and Dhaka
right,
got all
right, right.
4.
Yeah, Iheanacho got 2 assists though, so I guess that's not bad. Tielemans again involved with an assist. Um, Interesting. Yeah, I mean, it's always there that risk of rotation. Dhaka could be thrown in one of the games. Why not? So
Dhaka is 7.1.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's around the same price. So it's a tough one.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
Iheanacho will continue to start. I think his Iheanacho and Wadi have been playing together last season as well.
Right, right.
But there's always like that risk of an odd game where he might be benched for Dhaka, just to give him some minutes in the Premier League. So
All right. Watkins is yes. I've liked Aston Villa as well. They've attacked quite. The attack has kind of gone up as compared to how they started the season. They are looking good. Ings, if you see his numbers, he has been consistent. Yes, he got 3 goals I think in the first 3 game weeks. That's why maybe his XGI is a little high. But yes, Aston Villa is a team which can be looked at in the next couple of seasons because Aston Villa's defenders and goalkeeper are way beyond the budget. The minimum is 5. So I doubt anybody's going to go for an Aston Villa defense. The only asset you can get for Aston Villa is Watkins, or I think Douglas Luiz is 4.5.
Bhavin, are you looking to move out of Antonio? And any thoughts on Antonio? I think his fixtures are obviously tough, but still holding on to him.
for now, trying to put out the more immediate fires, but I think he'll go at some point. So one of the West Ham attackers has already gone this week. Game week 13 or 14 is I think where they get to that fairly tough stretch. So they have Liverpool, City. Is it 13 or is it 14? I'm missing.
Oh, 11, it's
11,
Liverpool.
11. Sorry,
Yeah.
yeah,
13 is City.
yeah.
Uh,
So they have Liverpool, Man City, Chelsea, and I think Arsenal as 4 out of the next 6.
yeah, even
So
Brighton, Wolves
that would be
aren't.
kind of the point at which.
Yeah, even Brighton and Wolves. I was just saying
True.
that they're defensively good sides. So not going
Yeah.
to expecting too many returns in those. Tottenham Villa is still decent, I think, in terms of um, historically speaking. So, but yeah, I think after that it gets really tough.
I think he has a
Yeah.
good record
Yeah.
against Tottenham.
Yeah, probably even
Yeah.
Villa. I don't know, but yeah, it still seems a possibility that he might get some points there.
I think the big change will come in post the next international break as well, right? For all the players who are out right now, you would
Right.
expect them to play game week 12. So that would be kind of the decision point in terms of who to sell him for. I mean, I want to sell him, but I don't really have the best replacement identified. So once you have Bamford, once you have DCL and the likes thereof back, then you have a
Yeah.
larger pool to choose from.
Yeah, exactly. So I think DCL Bamford missing is also kind of binds our hands on in terms of forwards.
Yeah.
Because I think once DCL comes, irrespective of the fixtures, I think people will jump on him. All right, let's go to the premium forwards. This is, I think, the big one. Lukaku has been misfiring. What do you guys make out of it? What's Sushant? What do you think is the reason? It's obviously Mount. Everybody's saying, most of the Chelsea fans are saying the moment Mount comes back, things will be different. The moment James come back, things will be different. But I don't think Chelsea as a team is just relying on these 2 guys to really make Lukaku click.
Yeah, I don't know with Chelsea. I think they seem to have I mean, even last season, there are a lot of these 1-0 or 0-0 kind of games where not creating too many chances. I think they still have a very. They're doing okay. I think their XG is little obviously much better than last season the way they're playing right now. I think they're 12, yeah, maybe fourth or fifth. I guess somewhere
Yeah,
around there.
yeah,
But yeah, I think Lukaku against Brentford, for example, he barely had a chance. I think he had one possible assist for Werner, like an outside. Werner took a shot from outside the box, but and another one, I think he was in the box. He was involved, but again, I think it
mm,
fell to Chilwell, and we scored a volley. But not nothing much at all. I think that either it's down to him. I mean, it seems like Tuchel is saying that it's down to Lukaku is mentally tired or fatigued or whatever, or is it down to the team that it's not yet figuring out how to create chances for Lukaku as many as is it? Because I think
mm,
his one big chance that he missed was in the last game against Southampton,
yeah,
but he had
yeah.
nothing against Brentford. So do I call out that it's down to him? Maybe his movement isn't good. Yeah, it's a tough one to say, but yeah, for sure, it kind of with Tuchel saying that it kind of puts doubts in my mind whether he's worth captaining this week. Depends on whether he plays the Champions League game. So
No, also against Southampton, I think till the time the red card happened, he didn't have even a single chance.
yeah,
So
he
it was
didn't
just
have any.
just
Yeah,
just post the red card. I think he hit that. He did a one or there. So, but
yeah.
what do you think, Bhavin, about Lukaku? Apart from
I
obviously
think he's
we're gonna keep him in our teams, but what's going on with him and the team?
so Anuj. I think the last couple of games have been really kind of poor, in the sense that if you saw the early games that he played in, and particularly the game against Arsenal that stands out,
Yeah,
he was
yeah,
consistently dropping back, getting the ball, distributing, and also looking to create.
hmm,
The last 2 3 games that pretty much I have seen, he's always tried to be on the last man, get the ball, just create the tap in to score, and more
hmm,
often than not, he's turned out to be offside. So I think the fact that probably Havertz and to some extent Mount haven't been playing, supporting him, has
hmm.
meant that he's kind of been the last point of attack. Because let's face it, I mean, even if you leave Werner one on one with the goalie, chances are he'll miss. So there's no point of you letting Werner do the attacking or being through on goal.
Yeah,
So I think that's the reason why probably it's impacting his goal involvement as well as chance creation. Probably with Havertz coming in or even Mount coming in, I'm not sure why Mount is kind of in and out, because I thought Mount was fit and Havertz was injured, right?
I have no idea. And I
And
thought
the thing,
Mount was injured.
yeah, Mount was injured. I think he just got back. I mean, we all thought he's going to start the previous game, but he did. He came on only at like 60, 70, 70th minute. But yeah, I
Okay.
think he
Okay.
might start games now. Might
Yeah. So I'm
start games
I'm
now.
kind of hoping against hope that brings about a change, because all said and done, I think the fixture, and you look at not only the immediate fixture but the next four, they are just
Hmm.
too good for you to kind of move somebody out. You have Norwich, Newcastle, Burnley. Whenever you have that combination in front of you,
Yeah, yeah.
it's really hard for you to sell a attacker. So uh, kind of hoping that the other players come in and he gets back to his usual kind of Arsenal type performance.
Correct, correct. Havertz has been a surprising one. I have no idea why he has not been used at all. Uh, I thought after the finish that he had the last season, especially after the Champions League, he would be the one who would be helping Lukaku and be in the thick of things. So Havertz is another, because if he can get consistent, he's an 8.1 or I think around 8 kind of a asset. But again, I think if even if he does, he's going to be short of time, and how many minutes he's going to get, and so on and so forth. Uh, Ronaldo, Sushant. So again, it's about United here. Yes, defensive lapses have been there, but what's happening at the attack front? We who Obviously we saw a Greenwood's worldly goal there, and Rashford scored the second one. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah,
Right.
I think.
So
I think it's a. I think since Ronaldo has come in and is Ronaldo is a different kind of a forward than Cavani in terms of the pressing that goes on at the front. He doesn't have that anymore. He used to have Martial, who used to do a little bit of that. His movement, Martial's movement, Cavani's pressing, kind of enabled the other attackers to kind of do it. Ronaldo is just not that kind of a forward, so still struggling. I mean, it's surprising that we haven't been able to create good chances for Ronaldo in the last 2 weeks. I think even against Leicester, I didn't see anything. I mean, he had like bits and pieces there, half chances in the box,
right.
headers. Not really good chances right now. So it's difficult. Obviously, I anybody who asked me last week, I'd say hold on for 1 week. Leicester is like still a team that he might score against, but we haven't figured it out. So I'm not sure it's worth holding on to him. There's no way you can captain him in any of the next 4 or 5 fixtures except Watford maybe. But I think it might eventually, if I think Rashford is going to start. Greenwood, you mentioned like Greenwood Ronaldo is just not working that combo there. He
Yeah.
might have to move to somebody else there. Maybe Sancho on the right eventually. I don't know when he's going to play him there. But yeah, I think obviously not going to own him now. Hopefully, Ole is going to figure out what needs to be done to fix that.
Right. And obviously, as we discussed in the beginning, Son's form and now Kane giving 2 returns in the last game. So there's always that, not a fear, but there's always a worry that last year's Son and Kane might just start developing their last year's partnership. Their fixtures aren't too bad. They are number 7 on the FTR as well. If you see the fixtures, where are they? Yes, West Ham. Like we discussed, West Ham, United, Everton, Leeds, Burnley. If Kane now has started coming back into his groove, and Son obviously has been there since game week 1. I don't think any fixture matters for this pair. But again, the question is 12.1 Kane, Lukaku 11.7 till game week 11, Tottenham game week 12. I guess is that the move a lot of managers will be looking at, Lukaku to Kane, Bhavin?
I think so. Really the question is, if you look at the stretch from game week 12 for Spurs, Leeds, Burnley, Brentford, Norwich, right? Those are the
Right.
4 games. And Chelsea have, I think, United and another tough fixture in between.
Leicester,
Yes,
United, Watford, West Ham.
West Ham. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think game week 12 sits in beautifully for you to release funds from Lukaku and look at a Spurs attacker. I think that will be the play. The question is really, who do you choose between the two? Would you go for Son or would you go for Kane? That's really the big question, if you ask me. Still some time to go. If Kane does what he did last week, then I'm sure he's going to be a more popular transfer in, because uh, it just feels safer to captain Kane vis-a-vis Son. So you're getting that really strong captaincy alternative to Salah
Yeah. Yeah.
if you go Kane. And I think the fact is you can do that move easier. It just costs you 1 move to
Correct.
go from Kaku to Kane. So I think that's kind of the big decision point come game week 12. But thankfully we are some time away to taking that call. But I think one Spurs attacker will be part of the template.
Vardy, again, million cheaper, has had the best stats amongst all forwards till now. 7 goals, I think. So he and Salah are at 7. I think he's given an assist or 2 also here and there. Fixtures are still the same, just like Liverpool. They're also like 11 on the ticker last 4, 12 on the ticker next 4. If Lukaku doesn't score in the next one or the next 2, do people should wait for a jump on? Do people really wait till game week 12, as we discussed, to Kane, or you can't really stay away from Vardy if he continues to score? Sushant?
No, so let me plug in a couple of stats here. If you look at the
Yeah.
season, the first 8 game weeks, in terms of expected goal involvement, Vardy is second now to Antonio. If you look at the last 4, Vardy is head and shoulders above everybody. He's top for expected goal involvement. Uh, I really can't justify why we are not looking at him. To be honest with
Exactly.
you, probably the reason is it's really tough to, and some part of it is down to history because I've never had kind of luck with him. Whenever I've gotten him in, I'm more of a fixtures person, and invariably Vardy is a contra fixtures kind of a play, right? He tends to do well in the tougher fixture. So if you're looking at Vardy, there is no case for you to even wait for the fixture ticker. A mid kind of a fixture ticker is good enough for you to buy him. It's at that awkward price point again, and it just seems wrong to sell Lukaku before three plum fixtures. So that's the reason, probably. I mean, I know I am kind of defending and going against data and stats, but that's really kind of the reason why we are not going for Vardy. Why I'm not going for Vardy.
Of course, there's no comparison in terms of the fixtures. Leicester is playing Brentford away, Arsenal home. Though he loves to play against Arsenal. Vardy,
Yeah,
Leeds
yeah, he
away,
loves Arsenal.
Leeds we know. But my only thing is that if Lukaku was to blank or not play against Norwich, Newcastle, yeah, I think I'm just trying to find reasons to drop Lukaku. Newcastle getting a new manager in. I don't know who will be the new manager. So everybody's looking for their different kind of confirmation biases here and there. But Sushant, Wadi?
Yeah, Vardy, I think I had the same problem as Bhavin in the past. Whenever I picked him on a fixtures level, it's always kind of backfired. The moment you drop him, like last season, I remember I dropped him before a Spurs game. I thought, it's going to be a Spurs win. They were on good form, good run of form, and then Vardy scores a goal and an assist or whatever, and Kane blanks. I moved from Vardy to Kane, so it was like it kind of these kind of things keep happening with Vardy. It's like with Vardy, you just need to hold him, just get him in and hold him for a long, like at least a good 8 to 10 fixtures, and there's always a chance that he returns. He's always involved. If Leicester start, Leicester, I think maybe now he's figured out his formation with Irianacho and Vardy, and I think it will be good for Vardy if that kind of continues for sure. Um, yeah, I don't know if we can drop Lukaku. Obviously, only if we get confirmation from Tuchel or we kind of get indication that he's not going to play Lukaku. Does it make sense to go for Vardy? Otherwise, fitting him in, meaning for me, I mean, I could do it. I guess Armstrong to Vardy and Mahrez to a cheaper mid. Um, but then it's like a Son versus Vardy decision for me, and I might still stick with Son. Over Vardy.
Who's Leicester playing? This one, Brentford
They
away.
have Brentford away. Yeah, Brentford
So,
away is a big one.
so just like Son news, if there's a news which comes that Lukaku is not starting, are we?
It's a
I'm sure Bhavin is not gonna react to that news, but uh, would you see managers moving to Vardy?
yeah. I think I've seen his price went up by 0.1, and I think people are moving. Obviously, some managers are moving, but if we get news that he's not starting, there's a good chance that people move. Vardy is a straightforward kind of switch, but
Yeah.
I can't see dropping Lukaku right now unless you get that
I think
confirmation.
there are a lot of I think there are a lot of Ronaldo to Vardy transfers happening because
Correct.
obviously
True,
Ronaldo
true.
is dropping. So
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. True.
that's what's
That's
happening.
that's the that's
In
the
fact,
big one.
I was tying up a few transfer options. I could do next week Maximan and Antonio out to Vardy and Huang for a hit.
Right.
In fact, that would be like a exact money move the way things are right now. But still, as I said, I mean, I can't explain why I'm not going for Vardy. The other thing, of course, in favor of Vardy is bonus potential. I think he's massive for bonus.
Oh,
You see him get an
absolutely.
assist or a goal,
Absolutely. Yeah.
he's absolutely nailed for three bonus. So
Correct.
so maybe I'll probably talk myself into looking at him sometime in the future.
Right. 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 Uh, Arsenal attack. If you're looking at any Arsenal attack, would we be looking at Oba any point of time, or is it going to be through amongst the midfielders?
Yeah, unlikely. I mean, the price difference is huge. Like Orba at almost 10 and Saka and others at 6.5. So tough one to pick over in there. Again, if you pick a premium Arsenal attacker, they're not really kind of, XG charts. I don't think they're like
Yeah.
attacking as well as, so it's not definitely not a captaincy option either. So yeah, I can't see him being picked either. Probably stick to an Arsenal midfielder. I don't have any right now. I don't see myself getting one. But yeah, if someone's looking to get an Arsenal, then it's only going to be a midfielder for me.
I think Ramsdale is going to be my only Arsenal asset for a long time to come. All right, we come to the last section, and I think the most important one. Obviously, these are the fixtures that we can see. 24th October, anyways, is a day which has been marked for sports fans across the sports. This is obviously United, Liverpool, and I think in different leagues as well. There are some big clashes going on. For all the cricket lovers, there's India Pakistan, which is equivalent to Man United Liverpool as well. So boys, captaincy call. Salah form versus fixtures. Form is for Salah, fixtures with Lukaku. I'll start with Bhavin.
So it's a tough one really. I mean, if you looked at your transfer and captain planner, uh, on paper this would have been one of the easiest decisions, right? When you were planning your
Correct, exactly.
captaincy options, but looks far from it. So I think a lot depends on how and to what extent Lukaku plays in the game today. That will kind of be a key factor to look at. I think if he gets 70, 80 minutes, you would probably sense that even if he plays, he'll definitely get subbed off. So you're looking at him getting 60 odd minutes against Norwich, which can get you the odd goal, no two ways about it. But I think the form that Salah is in and the fact that he's nailed on, Liverpool have an extra day's rest. And I was listening to the FPL Wire today, and there was a pretty interesting effective ownership theory there as well. So if you look at, trying to be in a position to defend rank, I am nowhere close to that territory. But for somebody like you, Anuj, for example, if you look at the top 1K, Salah would have by default 99-100% ownership. And even if you see a small percentage of those guys captaining, his effective ownership will be 130-140% at the bare minimum. Lukaku is less owned comparatively, and given that Vardy is doing well, a lot of people are not looking to Lukaku as the immediate Ronaldo replacement. So chances are Lukaku's effective ownership is 100% or thereabouts. So by really playing him, you are covering the kind of base score any case, the template score any case. So I think it's really down to the Champions League for me. If Lukaku plays and kind of plays a decent amount of minutes, I wouldn't count against a Salah captaincy. And I think the form that he's been in, I mean, it doesn't need a explanation. Irrespective of the fixture, he can kind of score.
Yeah, I don't think even Liverpool fans saw this coming, because during the off season, there were talks about his contract and everything. And we had already renewed a lot of contracts. He was the only one left, and there's always a feeling around Salah. I have had a feeling around Salah that the fans have really not given him his due. Yes, they have songs about him and so on and so forth, but this season, I think he's just there's a school of thought that he's trying to do all this to get a new contract. My only point is, he's just playing. Why couldn't you just enjoy him play? And if that's a byproduct of, yes, why not? It's not that he has been sitting quiet for the last 3 seasons. So I think I was reading a stat about him that these stats, the first 8 game week stats, has been his best ever. Very close, very, very close to the first season when he returned to Premier League. Very close to that. Till the first 7 game weeks, I have gone for. Actually, I have been balanced in terms of going for fixtures and form across assets. But yeah, this is a really tough one. As you rightly said, 2 game weeks back, yes, Lukaku is coming in because of Norwich fixture, and look at where we are right now. So in another 40 minutes, I think Chelsea's team will be out. If to make our lives easier, if Lukaku plays, it'll be easy for me to give Salah the armband. But if Lukaku is not playing, then I think I'll have to spend the next 48 hours really thinking about it. But on your point, Bhavin, on the effective ownership, that's a very critical point as well. So that's a profound thought for me here. So Shan?
Yeah, I think for me right now, I think it's on Lukaku. Obviously, like everybody else, I'm going to wait on the see whether Lukaku is going to start, is he going to play, how many minutes he's going to play, and what Tuchel has to say about him.
Right.
Yeah, Salah's form this year, even I think in 2021 against United and Liverpool played twice before. I think once in the FA Cup and once in the league, and Salah had two goals in the FA Cup and 1 goal in the league game, that 4-1.
Yeah.
Very difficult to call. Obviously, I'm sure Ole would want to not lose this game at Old Trafford against Liverpool.
That's another point. Yeah, that's another good point. Yeah.
It's a huge one for him. He needs to absolutely. I mean, ideally, he would want to win it, but I don't know. Maybe he'd go with not losing this game. So will that have an impact? Maybe it doesn't matter with Salah right now, but it's tough one. For me, on Lukaku right now, as I said, I have to chase as well a little bit, not as high. For you, it's more tougher, Anuj, to kind of decide in terms of the effective ownership. For me, it's like I'm okay kind of going with Lukaku because I don't see Salah scoring heavily though in that game.
Correct.
Yeah, I don't see him scoring heavily. Yeah.
No, because as you rightly said, there's a huge pressure on Ole now after the last 2-3 performances, and I don't know. There's the rumors about those protests are going to really come true or not, but he definitely will feel the pressure. And I think any manager who feels pressure, most of the managers who will feel pressure will go for safety first, unless it's I've never seen Klopp going safety first ever. As in, he must have gone for sure. It's not that he's always gone for his heavy metal pressing, but I have a feeling as this, and I don't see we should just take it as in writing that Liverpool is going to win. First of all, it's. What do you guys think, Bhavin?
I don't. I mean, I'll honestly be happy to even get a point of that game. The form that we are in, the defensive issues that we've been facing. Varane is not there, so defense is definitely up in tatters. And even if you see a draw, I think the fact is, given our defense, even if you see a draw, I don't see a low-scoring draw. It will probably be like a 2-2 draw or a high-scoring draw. And the minute Liverpool score, it's hard for Salah to not be involved, given how concentrated the goals and the assists are between the front three. So I don't really think you can not get a 7 to 10 point haul from Salah. Lukaku really has to, and the other thing really is the bonus conversation, right? So if you see United scoring and you having a 1-1 or a 2-2, Salah has again done pretty well for bonus this year compared to previous seasons. Because he's not been taking a lot of shots, missing target. So he's been passing a lot as well. I think Firmino and him have got that pretty good understanding. So it's really a scenario where probably Lukaku has to get 2 goals to beat Salah in terms of the overall haul. So let's see. I mean, it's a proper 50-50, more than what it appears on paper. So let's see how it goes.
Let's just take a last look at Norwich defense stats. It's right at the bottom, so that's not a surprise at all. United.
Yeah, I think the last 4 game weeks, Norwich are the worst defense and United are the second worst defense. So that's
correct.
That for you.
Yeah, you can see. Actually, last 4 XGC, United is 6.63 and Norwich is 6.49.
Watford is high, I think 7.03.
Yeah, Watford is worst.
Yeah, sorry, my bad. Yeah, Watford are worst and United and Norwich are bottom.
Yeah, it's going to be again another nerve-wracking decision. Any other last thoughts on any fixtures that you're looking for, or we can just straight away? What do you think are going to be bold predictions for next game week, apart not including the United Liverpool fixture? Any bold predictions?
Bold. Let's see. Can't see any fixture standing out. Maybe Villa beating Arsenal at Emirates. Maybe they've been playing well. Villa have. I mean, I think they dominated that game against Wolves. I saw it was. I think it's just a moment. Like a cup. One was obviously a huge deflection. The second goal that they conceded also was like a clearance which hit Cody and went in.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
third one, anyways. Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, I think Villa played well. They attacked. I think Cash was like so heavily involved in everything in the first half. Yeah, I mean, I feel like maybe Aston Villa will probably maybe win that game. That's my bold prediction. It's a bold one. There's no Arsenal fan here right now, so I'm going to go with it.
Bhavin?
I think I'll go for the Burnley win at Southampton. I think against City they look pretty good. I think Dyche's defense first formula is kind of finally taking shape, and it's often that you see Burnley do this. The first 5-6 games they tend to get into their rhythm.
Yeah.
They are very very dependent on fitness and kind of building that discipline up. And Southampton haven't been great in attack either. So I think you could see Burnley getting the odd goal and then just holding on to it. So that would be my call for the week.
Possibly. I think I'll go for Brighton taking off points from City. Brighton is playing at home. They have been good, and City's attack, like we just discussed. Yes, it's been obviously they have been scoring goals, but they haven't really looked what City we know of. So, how well they started in the first two games, 5-0, 5-0 against Arsenal and Norwich. But having said that, Arsenal defense was also they were not, the couple of defenders were not there. Ramsdale has made some kind of a difference. So I would say City's attack is still not that right up there, and Brighton's defense is decent. If Brighton gets a point off there, I promise I'm not going to sell Duffy. So that's so let's see. But again, Brentford Leicester is going to be another crazy match.
Yeah,
West Ham, I think quite a few good matches in the coming weekend.
Yeah, even the Palace Newcastle game will be interesting. Both teams have to attack. Yeah, so
I think now is the point. Now is the point where I think Vieira needs to start really getting 3 points in now. He has been very unlucky in the last 2 games. He's conceded two I think a goal each against Brighton and Arsenal in the last minute. I think he's going to do something good with Palace. So let's see. All right, boys. Thank you very much once again.
Thanks.
We shall see you guys. You guys are traveling next week, right?
Yeah, I'm out next week, so maybe a week after.
So we'll get the Arsenal fans next week on.
Yeah.
Thank you, boys. Take care. Have a good weekend.
Thanks so much, Anish. Cheers. Bye-bye.
Bye.